If you're watching this right now, I need you to stop what you're doing and listen carefully, because what I'm about to share could directly affect your bank account in the next few days. There's been so much confusion swirling around social media, so many conflicting headlines, and honestly, so much fear spreading among seniors and retirees that I knew I had to sit down and walk you through exactly what's happening with these payments that everyone's talking about. You're watching USA Benefits Center, where we cut through the noise and bring you the real facts about Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and everything that affects your benefits. Today, we're tackling the biggest question on everyone's mind. Are stimulus payments really starting January 17th? And if you depend on Social Security or any federal benefit, does this actually apply to you? Now, before I go any further, I want you to understand something. This isn't clickbait. This isn't fear-mongering. This is about giving you the clarity you deserve so you can make informed decisions about your money and your future. Because here's what's really happening. Over the past several months, millions of seniors across this country have been struggling. Food prices have gone up, rent and housing costs have skyrocketed, utilities, medications, doctor visits, everything costs more than it did just a year ago. And for so many of you watching this, your monthly check hasn't kept up. You're stretching every dollar. You're making impossible choices between paying for prescriptions and keeping the heat on. And that pressure, that stress, it's real, it's overwhelming, and lawmakers know it. Federal agencies know it. That's why there's been this growing conversation about targeted relief, especially for older adults and people living on fixed incomes. So let's talk about January 17th. Why is that date suddenly everywhere? Why are people saying that's when payments begin? And most importantly, what does it actually mean for you? Here's the truth. January 17th is not some magic day where everyone receiving Social Security suddenly gets a big check in the mail. That's not what's happening, but it is a real date tied to real payments for specific groups of people. And understanding who qualifies, how much we're talking about, and what you need to do or not do, that's what we're going to cover step by step right now. First, let me explain what people even mean when they say stimulus payment in early 2026. This isn't like the pandemic stimulus checks that went out to nearly everyone a few years ago. Those were broad, those were large, those were designed to help the entire economy during a national crisis. What we're talking about now is different. These are targeted payments. They're relief measures aimed at helping specific groups of people who are facing the hardest financial pressures right now. And yes, many of those people are seniors, retirees, people on disability, and veterans. These payments might not always be officially labeled as stimulus checks, but they serve the same purpose. They're designed to provide direct financial help to people who need it most. Now, here's something really important that a lot of people don't realize. These payments can come in different forms. Some are one-time relief payments sent directly by the federal government. Others are cost of living supplements that are added to your existing benefits. Some are state-level rebates that coordinate with federal programs, and some are emergency assistance tied to inflation relief efforts. The key thing to understand is this. If you already receive Social Security retirement benefits, SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits, you probably won't need to apply separately for most of these payments. The government already has your information. They already know your income level. They already know your benefit status. And in most cases, if you qualify, the payment will come automatically. That's actually really good news, especially for older adults who worry about missing deadlines or filling out complicated paperwork. But let's get specific about January 17th. What exactly is happening on that date? This date marks the beginning of scheduled disbursements for a defined group of eligible recipients. Notice I said the beginning. Not everyone gets paid on that exact day, but January 17th is when the first wave of payments starts going out, with additional payments rolling out over the following days and weeks. Now, if you receive Social Security retirement benefits, your regular monthly payment still follows the same schedule it always has. That schedule is based on your birth date, and it hasn't changed. However, some beneficiaries may see an additional deposit or an adjustment related to cost of living relief or state-administered programs that work alongside the federal system. These extra payments are often processed in mid-January, which is exactly why you're seeing January 17th mentioned so frequently in official timelines. Let me talk about SSI recipients for a moment, because this is really important. If you receive supplemental security income, you already know that your payments typically arrive at the very beginning of each month. But when special adjustments or supplemental assistance programs are approved, those payments are often sent separately, and they usually come after the middle of the month. So if you're on SSI and you qualify for additional inflation relief or emergency assistance, you might start seeing those deposits appearing after January 17th. It's not your regular SSI payment, it's something extra. And yes, it's real. For those of you receiving Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI, you're part of these discussions too. SSDI beneficiaries typically receive their payments on the same schedule as retirement beneficiaries, depending on when you were born. If you receive SSDI and you meet certain income and eligibility criteria, you may qualify for additional relief payments that are processed either alongside your regular benefit or shortly after. And again, in most cases, this happens automatically. Now, I also want to mention our veterans. If you're receiving VA benefits, your payment system is different from Social Security, but there is coordination when special relief programs get approved, either at the federal level or the state level. Some veterans, particularly those who are elderly or who have disabilities, may see additional payments or credits reflected in January, depending on what type of benefit you receive and what state you live in. So even if you're not on Social Security but you do receive VA benefits, don't assume this doesn't apply to you. It very well might. One of the most common questions I hear from viewers is this: do I have to do anything? Do I need to call someone? Do I need to fill out a form? And here's what I want you to hear loud and clear. In most cases, no. If you already receive benefits through Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or the VA, and your information is current and up to date, these payments are automatic. There is no separate application. There's no phone call you need to make. There's no form you need to submit. This is done on purpose to reduce stress and to prevent scams that target older adults. But, and this is a big but, you need to make absolutely sure that your direct deposit information is accurate and current. If you've changed banks recently, if you've closed an account, if you switched from paper checks to direct deposit or vice versa, and you haven't updated that information with the Social Security Administration, you could experience delays. Keeping your payment information up to date is one of the simplest but most important things you can do to make sure any extra money reaches you without problems. Now let me address something else that worries a lot of people. If I get this extra payment, does it count as income? Will it reduce my other benefits? This is such a valid concern, and I'm glad you're thinking about it. In most cases, one-time relief payments do not count as earned income for Social Security purposes. That means they usually will not reduce your monthly Social Security check. For SSI recipients, the rules are a little more specific, but many relief payments are excluded from income calculations for a certain period of time. This gives you time to actually use the money for what you need: groceries, rent, medications, utilities, without worrying that it's going to immediately cause your benefits to drop. And what about taxes? Are these payments taxable? Generally speaking, no. Stimulus-style relief payments are not considered taxable income at the federal level. That's been the case with past relief programs, and current guidance continues to follow that same pattern. But even so, I always recommend that you keep records of any extra payments you receive. Keep a note of the date, the amount, and where it came from, especially if you file taxes or if someone helps you with tax preparation. Having that documentation can be really helpful down the road. Alright, now here's where I need you to really pay attention, because this is where misinformation starts to spread and people start to panic or get their hopes up for something that isn't real. Not every headline you see online reflects an official decision. There are websites out there, videos out there, posts on social media that make it sound like everyone is getting a big check on January 17th. That's not true. The payments that begin on January 17th are tied to specific programs and specific eligibility rules. They are not a universal check for everyone. Understanding this difference is so important because it helps you set realistic expectations and it reduces unnecessary anxiety. So let's talk about eligibility in more detail, because this is the key to understanding whether or not you're actually going to see extra money. For federal level relief connected to existing benefit programs, eligibility usually depends on three main factors. First, the type of benefit you receive. Second, your income level. And third, sometimes your household situation. Seniors receiving Social Security retirement benefits are often eligible for relief measures if their income falls below certain thresholds. These thresholds are designed to focus help on the people who need it most, particularly individuals who rely primarily on their monthly benefits rather than having other significant sources of income. SSI recipients are often given priority in relief programs because SSI itself is specifically designed for individuals with very limited income and very limited resources. So if you receive SSI, there's a strong chance you may see additional support, either as a separate payment or as a supplement that arrives after your regular monthly deposit. These payments are meant to help with the essentials: food, rent, utilities, medical needs, the things you can't go without. SSDI recipients may also qualify, especially those who haven't seen meaningful increases in their purchasing power because of rising costs. Since SSDI benefits are based on your work history but are still fixed amounts, many recipients are facing the exact same financial challenges as retirees. Relief payments for SSDI recipients are often processed through the same systems as Social Security retirement benefits, which means they can arrive without you having to do any extra paperwork. For veterans, eligibility depends on what type of VA benefit you receive and whether you also qualify under income-based programs. Older veterans, disabled veterans, and surviving spouses are frequently included in these relief efforts. Your payment might not arrive on the exact same day as Social Security payments, but January is still a common processing period. Now let's talk about amounts, because I know that's what everyone wants to know. How much money are we actually talking about here? And I'm going to be honest with you, these payments are not designed to replace your monthly income. They're not going to solve long-term financial challenges. They are meant to provide temporary relief. The amounts can vary widely depending on the program, your income level, and even where you live. Some seniors may receive a few $100s. Others may receive smaller supplemental amounts. But here's the thing. Even a modest payment can make a meaningful difference when you're using it for groceries, prescriptions, or a utility bill that's overdue. It's also really important to understand that some of these relief payments are administered at the state level, even when they're supported by federal funding. That means not every senior in every state is going to receive the same amount at the same time. State agencies often coordinate with federal systems, which is why payments can begin on a specific date like January 17th, but then continue rolling out over the days and weeks afterward. So if your neighbor gets something and you don't see it yet, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not getting it. It might just mean your payment is coming in a different batch. One of the most important things you can do during this time is monitor your bank account carefully. If you receive direct deposit, check for deposits that might be labeled differently from your regular Social Security payment. Sometimes relief payments show up with a different description, and that can cause confusion. People see an unexpected deposit and they're not sure what it is. If you receive paper checks, please be patient. Mail delivery can take longer, especially during winter months, and if you're in a rural area or a place where weather has been bad, that can add even more delays. And now I need to talk about something that really makes me angry, and that's scams. This period, when people are expecting payments, is unfortunately when scammers come out in full force. They know seniors are looking for information, they know people are anxious, and they use that to try to steal money or personal information. So please, hear me clearly on this. Government agencies do not call you, text you, or email you asking for your Social Security number, your bank details, or any kind of payment to release funds. If anyone contacts you claiming they can speed up your payment, guarantee your eligibility, or unlock money for you, that is a scam. That is a red flag. Do not give them anything. The safest approach is to rely only on official communications that you're already used to receiving. If you're not sure whether something is legitimate, call the Social Security Administration directly using the number on their official website, not a number someone gave you over the phone or in an email. Another concern I hear from a lot of people is this: if I get extra money, is it going to mess up my other benefits? Things like housing assistance, food stamps, Medicaid, are those going to be affected? In many cases, one-time relief payments are excluded from income calculations for a certain period of time. This policy exists specifically so that people aren't penalized for receiving temporary help. But rules can vary depending on the program and the state, so keeping documentation is always a smart idea. If you're worried, talk to someone at your local benefits office or a trusted advisor who can look at your specific situation. Planning how to use these payments wisely can also really help. A lot of seniors I talk to say they're going to use the money for overdue bills, prescription refills, or essential home repairs. Some people are setting aside a small emergency fund for unexpected expenses. There's no single right way to use the money, but focusing on stability and covering your basic needs can give you real peace of mind. As January continues, more information is going to become available. There may be additional adjustments announced, there may be more support measures rolled out. Staying informed is important, but so is not becoming overwhelmed. Be cautious with headlines that promise guaranteed payments for everyone or that claim massive amounts without giving clear explanations. Reliable information tends to be calm, detailed, and consistent. It doesn't scream at you. It doesn't make wild promises. It gives you the facts so you can decide what applies to you. So let me bring this all together for you because I know this has been a lot of information. Payments beginning January 17th are real for certain eligible seniors, but they are targeted. They are not universal. If you receive Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits, and your information with those agencies is up to date, you may qualify without needing to take any action at all. These payments are meant to provide relief. They're meant to help. They are not meant to create confusion or fear. By understanding how they work, by watching for deposits carefully, and by staying alert to scams, you can protect yourself and make the most of any support you receive. The most important takeaway from everything I've shared today is this: staying informed protects your financial security. Knowing what is confirmed, what is still developing, and what doesn't apply to you, that knowledge helps you make better decisions. It helps you avoid unnecessary stress. It helps you feel more in control. These programs exist to support you, and understanding them gives you power. You don't have to feel helpless. You don't have to feel confused. You have the right to know what's happening with your money and your benefits. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and to stay informed with me today. I know it's not always easy to keep up with all the changes and all the news, but you're here, and that shows you care about protecting your future. If this video helped you understand what's really going on with these January payments, please do me a favor and share it with someone you know who might be confused or worried. Share it with a parent, a grandparent, a neighbor, a friend, because clear, honest information like this can make all the difference. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to USA Benefits Center so you never miss an update on Social Security, Medicare, SSI, SSDI, or any other benefit news that affects your life. I'm here to break it down for you every single time something important happens. Thank you again for trusting me with your time today, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay informed, stay safe, and take care of yourself.